We are live. Good evening, everyone, and a very good morning to you, Kim.
Good morning, good evening in India.
So, welcome to Building the Future series, which is initiated by Impact PR on its 20th anniversary. And today we bring to you a fundamental focus importance of building relationships with media. We have with us Kimberly Sherrill Lawson, best-selling author, branding consultant, business coach, podcast host, and a speaker who has a vision to make this world a more positive place than when she entered it. She is the CEO and lead consultant at Lawson Learning Academy, Atlanta, Georgia. Kimberly has successfully coached many individuals to achieve their business goals. An accomplished author, from penning short stories and poetry as a child to turning into authoring and co-author several books and launching her own publishing company, Shara Link. She is an international best-selling author of the book The Power of Why. So welcome, Kim, to our chat.
Hello. Thank
Yes. So, Kimberly, as we were chatting a little earlier, we have been talking about, building relationships with media. And now with the new normal, how important do you think is to build relationships or relations with media?
So it's always important to build media relationships. It's so important. But right now it's more important than ever so that you are in front of your audience, so that your audience and your clients, potential customers, that they know you exist. Because, there have been several businesses in various industries that have struggled during this pandemic. So now more than ever, you need to have those media relationships so that you are, still visible to show like, hey, I'm still here. The services are still available. The products are still available. Books are still here so that people just remember that you exist.
Okay. And tell us, Kim, that, when we talk about media relations, why is it so important to have a positive or good media relations?
Media controls the narrative. We see that, especially here in America, anytime there's something going on, the media controls the narrative. The media controls whether it is viewed as positive, it's viewed as negative, if it's even impacted at all. The media controls the narrative. And so you should want to control your own narrative by having, the right media relationships, just because you don't want someone else telling your story in a different way.
Yes, and very rightly so. Media controls the narrative. That's the the first key message that we get from Kimberly. So, while we talk about that media is holding the key narrative, how do we build effective media relations? How an individual or an organization can build effective media relations? One is organization from the front, from the corporate viewpoint, and one from an agency viewpoint.
So, with any of it, it's important to build a connection. That's the first thing. Everybody wants to network. Networking is great. Networking is not long term. A connection is long term. So the first thing that you have to be very aware of who your audience is. You need to know who your audience is for your brand, for your business, and then you do your research and find the media person that corresponds with your audience. So my one of my target audiences is budding and novice entrepreneurs. So I am going to look for media, podcast shows, magazines. I am looking for television anchors who do some type of show that goes about building a business, building wealth, building a legacy. Those people are also with my target audience. So that is where I then need to build my connection. And it starts by simply introducing yourself. So that's been, people think that, oh, you got to wait for someone else to open the door for you and introduce you. Absolutely not. Take that bull by the horns, get in front of your own media connection. Go up and just, introduce yourself. Now, the mistake would be to then, as soon as you're there, to start asking for something. Absolutely not. That is the time to then offer something. What can I do? Are you in need of stories to talk about on your show? Are you in need of some help with your branding? Would you like me to take a look at what you have and give you my professional opinion? This is the time to offer something, because this is the way that you build a connection, because these people are used to people coming to them all the time asking for something. So if you come offering something and just simply introducing yourself and not asking, you're leaving the door open. So many times, just by simply introducing myself and offering something up, offering something that they may need, they then say, well, what can I do for you? I get that. Honestly, 95% of the time, that is what I get. It come back and say, hey, yeah, you're offering to do all of this for me. What can I do for you? And so this is now your opportunity to say, hey, I have this coming up. I would love to talk about it on your show with your audience. I think your audience would enjoy this information. I would love to share it. But that's only beneficial if you have targeted the right audience with the right media. It doesn't do any good to take your story to the wrong person, because even if they know it's not a fit for that audience and they allow you on the show, you have now wasted a media opportunity because you didn't get in front of the right audience with the right media personnel.
Wow, what I'm realizing that you're telling me this, I think the theory of media relations, PR, is universal. There is no difference. What you just shared is so close to us. Tell us that, what are the basic principles that one can follow to build a positive relation or good media relations? What are the basic principles one needs to follow?
The basic principle is don't abuse. That's the basic principle of any relationship. If there is a relationship in which you are always taking and not giving more than you take, that's just not beneficial. I mean, that goes right down to your friendships. So if you have friends that the only time you hear from them is when they want something from you, after a while, you quit taking their calls. And it works the same way with media. You cannot abuse your media. I have people in media and with television shows, magazines, and they will allow me on their show as much as I want to be on there. However, that would be an abusive relationship because I am not able to give back more than I would be taking. So with any of this, I mean, it's wonderful to want to be on television to make every single announcement that you have, but that is going to be abusive not only to the media person, but also to the audience, because after a while, you have been overexposed to them. And they're no longer interested in what you have to say and what you're offering. So once you're not overexposed and this person sees that your numbers are no longer good on their show, you go from having 1,000 views in a day to 200 views in a week. And they're like, this is no longer a fit for my audience. And so at this point, that relationship is no longer beneficial mutually. So don't be abusive with your media. Do not be abusive with your media. That's the number one principle of any relationship, and media is a relationship.
Yes, that's very nice what you said. Very nice thing which you said, Kimberly. Tell us that, when you say that it is obviously a give and take relationship with the media, and people like you and us, we work in the area of earned media where we build positive relationships with a journalist or an editor or a media house. What is that we can give in exchange? Is it a good content, or how do we give that thing back?
Good content is number one. Good content is number one. So, I mean, that's the thing about it. With shows, people just feel like, they have tons and tons of shows lined up. You will actually be surprised at how much spaces they have, and they're trying to fill in certain segments of their show. So, you offering good, authentic content. That's the big thing. The content needs to be authentic. Don't just be one of those who is trying to jump on the bandwagon of, okay, so now this week I'm talking about this and that week. No, the content needs to be authentic to you, because if it's authentic to who you are as a media person, as a business, whatever your industry is within your brand or your business, your audience connects. That gives them numbers to their show, and that's what they want. So good, authentic content is one thing that you can definitely offer. Another would be maybe some type of community service to them. So find out, because a lot of people in media have charity organizations and things that they work with. And so maybe there's something that they're putting on that you have an area of expertise that you could lend. So if you are a photographer and your media person is maybe doing some type of job fair in the community, they're doing something with resumes, maybe you can come in and offer to do headshots to the people that they're serving in a way of giving back. you know Even if you are one who has you're well known in your industry, by simply saying, hey, I would love to come and speak at your event, no cost. I really want to give back because I see that you're trying to serve the community, you're trying to help, those things. So giving back within the community, that's another way of really making sure that that media relationship is a two-way street. And that goes into building a connection and not just having network. Because if you have a connection, then you have taken the time to get to know your media, and the areas in which the community that they like to give back to.
Wow, that was very valuable information and insight, Kimberly. Tell us that I as a person, or you as a person, when we go out to media, we meet various people for the first time, and then because media is something we have to go maybe daily, monthly, every day we need to interact, because that's our delivery area at times. So how do we maintain that long term relationship of give and take? How do we maintain that long term relationship?
So you maintain the long term by just periodically just checking in, with the media, just saying, I check in with my people from time to time, media and influencers. It's one of those where if I see that they post, maybe they just received some award, I'm going to check in and be like, hey, congratulations. That's wonderful that you're doing it. Or, hey, what's new with you? Because I build connections. And so you cannot look at media as, okay, this is just PR. No, you need to look at it like this is an actual relationship, and it's something that you have to nurture. So you need to think about it in terms of your friends who maybe live out of state, overseas. These are not people who you're necessarily going to talk to every week, because in business people are very busy. So that would be a very needy relationship that you need to talk to this person every single day. But periodically checking in, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because you are now appearing in their life outside of when you need something. My media, I am telling them happy birthday. I am congratulating them on awards, on personal things in their life, birth of a baby, marriages, because part of that, I follow them on social media. And so since I follow them on social media, I see their moments, and I make sure that I check in to say, hey, I see your moment. I'm proud of you. This is wonderful. And I make sure that 9 out of my 10 contacts with this person is not me asking for something. And it goes into only asking when something is of true substance. So I have my media when, if it's, I have co-authored a book, I have media that I go to for that. When I am receiving an award, I have media that I contact to share that with. So it is all in that connection, but you cannot, you just not going to be successful in media if you treat it like it's just a public relationship. It has to be a relationship.
Yes, that's a very valid point, and I completely believe in that. And let me share with you, Kimberly, that I, as a person, I've been into PR for nearly 25 years actually, and I still go and check in, like the word which you used. My relationship with media friends is just beyond work area. I go and check out on them. If they have a moment in their life, marriage. I have been to marriages of mostly all the media friends which I made from the very beginning of my career, who were my age, and now they have kids, right? So I think that is a really important message which you're giving, that go beyond public relations, believe in relations. That's what I get.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And the people who you have followed and been invited to their wedding, and you have, been there to congratulate them on the birth of their children, those media relationships, I'm sure, are, so impactful with your business and with your brand. And so when you are in need of media attention for something, those people are more than happy to oblige you because they don't feel like you are abusing the relationship.
Yes, and that's a very nice point of relationships, because that's exactly what I believe in. When I connect with anybody, I go and check in. In today's time in India, what is happening is a lot of media people are losing jobs. A lot of newspapers, the print newspapers, have shut down. And I'm so happy that most of the media people reach out to me and seek, okay, Kulpreet, can you help us with some kind of opportunity? So that really feels good. And I definitely go out of my way to do something for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was even, and people didn't see this backstage. You were asking me about my health because you remembered from a few weeks ago when I did an interview and I had not done one in a while because I had actually been quite ill. You asked me about it. We have this relationship where we talk beyond the live stage, and that's, those are the relationships that mean more to me. I love being, in the media. I love being live, but there's something about that backstage conversation that lets me know that there is something authentic about you as a person. And that's what you have to remember. To be successful in media, to be successful with your business and your brand, to maintain the visibility that you want, the backstage matters. How you behave in the green room matters. Don't just worry about when you are sitting on the stage with the cameras rolling. How you are backstage is what influences how you behave the most. When I go to do television interviews, I make sure that I ask people for their name. When you are escorting me to where I am going to wait, I greet the secretary because that's who I am as a person. My focus cannot be solely on my interviewer. Everyone else is a part of that, and that is so beneficial because they all talk. And I've had, producers tell me that, oh my goodness, you were so courteous, you were here on time, you followed the directions that we gave. I would love to have you back on the show. And producers are the people who actually book the shows, so you have to remember that your backstage matters.
Yes, that's a wonderful thing. And Freddie is also saying human touch means a lot anywhere and everywhere. So, and Sanskriti is saying, well said, Kimberly. Much needed information for staying in touch with the journalist.
Yeah,
and which people are taking in backstage is more important than on stage.
absolutely. Yes.
Yes. So there are a lot of people who have joined in. My request to everybody is you can send in your questions for Kimberly. I'll definitely take in your questions. So, Kimberly, tell me one thing, which I deal with because I head an organization which is a PR agency, and the newer generation which comes in as PR professionals, they find it very challenging at times to connect with the top media, which means, like, if we talk about US, the top newspaper would be maybe a New York Times or a Time magazine or a top channel or a BBC or a CNN. So they find it very challenging, and they will probably not make an effort. So what would be your advice or suggestions for anybody to break through into the top line media houses, or maybe certain media personalities who have a huge aura, like Oprah Winfrey? She has a huge aura. People might not kind of go and talk to her or her office. So, what are your suggestions there? That how can the new generation break through into their mindsets of the media houses and media personalities?
So one thing about it is you have to know why it is that you're trying to get in front of this big media person. Um, and that's big because Oprah, everybody wants a piece of Oprah. You have all of these, everyone that is on, like Hoda Kotb, everybody wants a piece of them. Everybody wants a piece of them. So, being honest with you, trying to um, get their attention is not necessarily how to get there. You just need to focus on your visibility because honestly, outside of live shows, these people are living everyday lives. And so once you are extremely visible in your brand, they're going to see you. That always needs to be the focus. And that's what I tell people. Everybody wants to be on, in the New York Times. Everyone wants to be on, USA Today. Everybody wants to be interviewed on the Today Show. You have to become a powerhouse in your own right. And it's not hard at all. It's about focusing on your audience, growing your audience to make sure that your visibility cannot go unnoticed by anyone. So once you are a trending topic, the people who you want to see you the most are going to see you because you will not be able to get in the door by trying to be at all the same events that people who work with Oprah are there. Because honestly, those people are most likely under a non-disclosure. They're under a non-disclosure act. So it's not as if they can go out advertising that they work for Oprah, that they work with Oprah, unless they are publicly at that moment representing a show that she wants to do. And that's when they come to you directly. If you notice any of the people who are not celebrities, how are they on the Today Show? How do they gain the visibility of Oprah? They were a trending topic in their own right. So it's always important to focus on you and your brand the most because when your brand is a household name, then the people who are also a household name are going to want to be in the same room with you. They want to bring you to their show so that they have the opportunity to interview you, to talk to you. Ellen is known for bringing people on her show who were trending topics. They released some YouTube video that got 1 million views. They had some type of incident that happened to them that was quite it was either unjust or it was extremely noteworthy and it was a trending topic. Focus on you and your brand. Focus on you and your brand. When your brand is so visible that even, the A-list, the millionaires, the billionaires cannot ignore it, that's when you're going to get that invitation, because that type of media is by invitation only, because those people have such a following. They have so much content. Oprah can literally walk out on the street and say, hey, who wants me to interview them today in 5 minutes? And she's going to have, people flocking to her, wanting to be a part of that. Ellen DeGeneres show is so popular that they only put out tickets a couple of months out of the year, and they're gone for the entire year, because that is the following that they have. So you need to they did the same thing. They focus on their business and their brand. Oprah works with business coaches to this day, I am told, in the coaching industry. You don't know exactly who her coaches are, but you know that she works with coaches because she's focusing on her business and her brand and building it to make sure that it's so impactful that you're not able to ignore it. Denzel Washington still takes acting classes to this day. Why? Because he's focusing on his business, his brand, and making sure that it is maintained and that it does not waver in the least. Focus on you and your brand.
Wow, that is so wonderful, Kimberly. And do you think that it has become a little easier to to become a trending topic with social media being in place, with so many opportunities being in place? There are so many YouTube channels which are doing pretty well, and they talk about you. Top influencers talk about you. So don't you think that it has become easier, or it is still very challenging?
It's easier to be noticed by people who would not necessarily notice you by becoming by trending on, or as they call it, going viral. But in that, you have to make sure that it is authentic, because it is very easy to identify people who are only doing something just because they are trying to become a trending topic. But social media is such an advantage point for everyone now, because social media is free. So it's a lot easier, I would say, in 2020 to be noticed by top influencers than it would have been in, 1920, 1980, 1990, even the early 2000s, because social media is now it. Google is the number one search engine in the world, Google, and YouTube is number two, and
Yes.
YouTube is owned by Google. So if you are trending on YouTube, you're trending on Google. You're right there in the number one and the number two. So it's definitely a lot easier. You just have to make sure that you are maintaining authenticity in that, not by trying to do something to gain that trend, to go viral. Like, okay, I'm going to say some outlandish things today because I bet I go viral, or let me see if I do this, how many likes I'll get. Things like that can hurt your brand. And so, I've seen that many times. People do go viral, but it backfires. They're viral, and the backlash of it really is impactful to their business and their brand.
Yes. And what you're saying is that be authentic, live your purpose, find your purpose, and authentically live that purpose. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. I believe in that. Everything should be authentic to who you are. It should be aligned within your purpose, and combined with your passion. I totally believe in that.
Yes. And also tell us, Kimberly, like if we like you said, if we go a few years back, there was media houses. Everything was concentrated on media houses. As a branding consultant or a PR consultant, has the sphere of influence expanded for you in terms of not only targeting building relationship with journalists, but also building relationship with influencers, bloggers? Has it expanded? And if it has, how you have tried, or what are your suggestions to build relationship with this new budding social media, or let me call it new media, to be it in a part of your communication?
So, all of that is so important now. Bloggers, podcasters, YouTubers, um, people with Instagram accounts, Twitter accounts. I will say that they are probably more influential of your media presence than newspapers and television shows. Just because everyone doesn't have cable. So let's just say that in America, people have went from purchasing cable television, which is how you typically can watch your local channels and be able to watch shows like when Oprah had a show, Ella DeGeneres show, the Today Show, um, um, live. Those those days are gone. Social media, though, all you need is a cell phone. And almost everyone, over the age of 10 has a cell phone. From 10 to 80 have a cell phone. And you have access to social media for free. And these same shows are on social media. So it's definitely more influential. The thing about it is, though, when you are presenting yourself to bloggers, podcasters, YouTubers, they they are always looking for content. I mean, they are always looking for content. And the thing about it is that people things change, especially during this pandemic. So people will, inadvertently drop out of shows and things. And so when you present yourself and you say, hey, I have this content, I would love to bring it to you. You have to make sure that you're ready because I have had people ask me to come on, I'll meet them. They're like, hey, I'm doing a show tomorrow. Can you be on my show? And that goes into being ready, and I've talked about that before. Being authentic with your content is definitely big, building these relationships, but also making sure that you're ready. And if you're not ready, being honest about that. Because people love to say, opportunity doesn't knock twice. Well, it does. It just takes a while. But it's better to wait on that opportunity to knock the second time and it be right than to answer the first time and you're not ready. So I know that with these new influencers, people with the podcast and things, they're ready. And you have to be too when you present yourself to them.
And for the influencer area, tell me one thing. We have certain influencers which are macro influencers, big influencers, celebrities like Oprah, Ellen. Here in India, we have Amitabh Bachchan. Now there's this new Sonu Sood, and we have, all the Bollywood celebrities as big influencers. And then we have micro influencers, which are people like probably you and me. You and me have authentic followership, right? So, where would you advise people to focus on macro, micro, or a balance of both? Because macro also comes with a lot of money, a lot of investment.
So I am just a firm believer that everyone is beneficial. There is room for everyone. Everyone has a role. And so I do not believe that one is more important than the other. But if I had to choose, I would focus on the micro because these are the people who are directly connected to your audience. So I'm a fan of local media because that is media in my community. And these are people who are going to instantly connect with me. They're going to instantly feel a connection and want to know more. And they feel as if I am accessible. That's the thing about, the big powerhouses, the major media people, the major influencers, they feel intangible. They don't necessarily feel approachable. But that local media wants that community connection. And so those are the people who are going to really connect you with your target audience the fastest and the closest because that audience doesn't know 500 people in your field. When you go on, if I was on Ellen's show and as a business coach and strategist, the bulk of her audience is going to know 20 other people in my field. That puts me, that's hundreds of thousands of people. And it's like, how many of them are actually going to connect with me for services, or it's just going to be, hey, I saw you on the show, that type of thing. But when I'm on local shows, and local shows still have millions of viewers, um, they are going to connect and be like, okay, so she's right here in Atlanta. Okay, she's right, wherever you are. And that local, that micro is going to give you the sound bites that you will need for when major media calls. And that's not something to ignore. So anytime someone wants to connect with you, interview you, they're going to search to see what media you already have, to see what's already been talked about with you. They want to see how well you handle yourself. And so that micro media, those sound bites are priceless. Those sound bites are what you are putting on your author page. Those sound bites are what's showing up on Google when people search for you. Those sound bites are maybe what's going to be used in a clip to introduce you. Do not ignore that. All of it is important, but if I had to pick one, I would definitely say nurture that micro media more than that mainstream, because mainstream is going to look at what you've done with micro first.
So nice. Go to the micro media. Wow. And that's exactly what I believe in, and at times what happens is, that's my personal experience, is that at times your micro media, your interviews or your interactions itself can go viral. Do
Yes.
you, do you get that?
Yes.
Yes. So thank you very much for your time, Kimberly. I think you have to go to school and teach, and you have a busy schedule. So before we kind of say a big thank you to you, I would like you to give some, point-wise recommendations as a conclusion to this chat to our listeners. We have a lot of people. In fact, let me tell you, we have a lot of media people also. A dear friend of mine, Shikha Mishra. She used to work in media, but now she's an entrepreneur. She's also joined in, and so yes. So give us, conclude the chat with your top few pointers which you would like people to follow on how to build and maintain relationships with media.
So, as I've been saying, it's a relationship, and so let's think about this. And I tell people this: it's a ship. What do ships do? They take things places. They move something. So it's a ship. So where is your ship going? Where is your ship going? Is your ship going out to sea? Is your ship coming into the harbor? So it's going to take you somewhere. And if it's positive or negative, you determine that by how you are steering. So make sure that you are nurturing your media relationships, that you are not abusing your media relationships. Always give more than what you take, and be authentic in who you are. Be authentic, and always connect with your target audience. Do not begin to change who you are and how you present yourself because you are trying to fit this mainstream media that you feel like you need to fit into. So if you are a circle, stay a circle and nurture all of those who fit in that circle. If you are a square, remain a square and build your relationships today. It's so important to always be authentic to who you are, because when people are looking at you in media, they are looking for that authenticity of you. So, build your relationship, be authentic to who you are, nurture, always give more than you take. Those are principles that I live by. These are all principles that I keep my media relationships in healthy standing with.
Yes, and I really like it. Be you, be authentic. That's how
Yes.
I've put it across, and I will definitely make some, a blog out of our chat. Thank you, Kimberly, so much. I am honored, and it was a pleasure hosting you. And as always, it's been such nice insights, which I'm sure today's generation is going to benefit from.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on. I was definitely flattered, and I always enjoy interacting with your audience. It's just always a good time. It's a great conversation. It never feels like an interview. It always feels like a conversation that we're just sharing live with, with an audience.
Yes, and let me tell you, Kim, when we first did our chat or when we first met, you told me something, and it stayed with me always. You told me, that Gurpreet, you are a connector, and I was like, okay. I was so mindful of that word, and I actually implemented further on that, and I really liked it. And after that, I intentionally started connecting people with each other and all of that, and it just brought me a lot of happiness and contentment that I am able to connect to people who could mutually benefit from each other or just be good friends for life. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you because you are definitely a connector. And when I first met you, you were definitely connecting people. And I told you before, I believe in connections, not networking. Networking is how you get your foot in the door. Once your foot is there, build that connection, nurture that relationship. So I love that. I love that. And I hope that someone from your audience definitely has found something I said beneficial, influential, motivational, or inspirational. I'll take any of it and connects with me because this is who I am. I'm always me and you are definitely always you. So I love that something I said definitely had an impact on you because you are truly a connector and people who are connected to you are definitely blessed in that right.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. And well, that makes us kind of stop the chat right now. And thank you for your time. And we do this building the future together. We will keep doing this on every Friday as a part of our Impact Turns 20. Thank you so much, Kimberly. And
Thank
stay
you.
backstage. Stay backstage. We'll just chat for a minute.
Okay, great.
So thank you, everyone. We'll be back next Friday. Till then, enjoy.
Yes.